Dennis, my friend, there is a global situation, man. Look at this news on your screen. So super spreader fears after 15,000. Now, Oslo, Norway, right now is having some serious anti-racism protests, and they're also protesting. It's being called "We Can't Breathe" protest. Now, here's the thing: with COVID on the loose, and these protests now it's really getting out of the U.S. It's getting into Europe now. They're fearing super spreader. You familiar? In fact, you introduced me to the term super spreader. Yeah, just the other day.
Yeah. Man, I don't know. It's a global phenomenon, and I don't know if this is out of support for the U.S. Let me see if I can actually play the video right now.
Yeah,
I'm going to share my screen and
not yet. Your screen's completely showing. You have to make it full screen first.
Okay.
You have to maximize and cover everything else. Yeah, there you go, man.
Okay.
Bring it in.
So let's see if we can get this going here.
This is in Norway.
Yeah.
So this is not funny, man.
It's not funny. I'm just going to come out and say I think that there's two separate things going on here. One is one of the things I'm concerned about is the spread of the virus and people shouting and screaming and stuff. We talked about this yesterday about the spit droplets and stuff coming out and that sort of thing. But now we're also that concerns me. What actually I'm encouraged with by seeing this is that it seems just like the world is tired of racial inequality and racial injustice. I don't know enough about Norway to know like what their situation is. I can just say as a human being, it's nice for me to be able to see that other countries and stuff are taking advantage of an opportunity to kind of stamp out some racial inequality.
Yeah, this I think is in sync with America because you know what? To the best of my knowledge, Norway there's no racism. I don't think there are any racism problems there.
I don't know. I honestly don't know. I do get a little bit surprised. I get a little bit surprised when because I don't see a lot of to my knowledge, there's not a lot of necessarily protests going on in the United States. When things happen or injustices happen in other countries. So, and it's just really an interesting phenomenon.
Oh, wait. Okay, so there maybe they do have a bit of a thing there.
FQ, I'm just going to say, I think racism is a universal, it's a universal issue. However, what we're really talking about, go ahead.
My concern is not what racism is right now. My concern is that we had Arab Spring, and that triggered a lot of revolutions and there was a price paid. People died, and it was really messy.
Yeah.
Is this a Western, spring? What's going on?
Quite possibly. I mean, I'm not. It very well could be, and I think I hate to keep using the same line, but I think people get to a point where enough is enough. I think a lot of this ends up being the inequality is not necessarily racial. A lot of times, inequality is drawn upon racial lines, but I think we're talking about a shift of wealth, right? I mean, we're talking about a shift of wealth. I think that there is what I've been able to observe is it just seems kind of like there is a shift towards a change in power and belief systems, and so this is it's interesting that the topic that we have about mamas don't let your children grow up to be dumbasses, and I completely agree with that. But I mean, I think that what's happening is we're seeing that a lot of these younger people they're questioning, like when's enough? When do we get our say? And I think what we're seeing is not just a shift in equality, but also a shift in generational control and power. And we're going to start seeing people, 30 under the age of 40 really kind of start coming into positions. We're seeing it here in the United States with people like AOC. I can't say her full name, but AOC is Alexandria Cortez Octavio or whatever her name is. So she's drawing a lot of criticism from the older generation, but she also gets a lot of praise from the younger generation. So in many ways, I think what we're seeing is an uprising and a change in generational power, as opposed to necessarily racial inequality or even wealth distribution. So I think all of that's going to change with this younger generation.
Okay, before we dive into the main topic, it's obviously resonating with some people. Amber says, kick-ass topic, because I know she's a teacher herself, so I guess she experiences this a lot. Now here's a comment from Mehreen, which I want to take. She's saying racism is everywhere, and situation is getting better in Scandinavian countries. Okay, I'm not really very familiar with what's happening in the Scandinavian countries.
Me either.
So Mehreen, if you guys, today's Friday, and anyway, so we do take people in. I am adding this here, the link, if anybody wants to join in. If you guys are watching this on my profile, it won't show there. So please go to YouTube. There you can see the live connection links. So Mehreen, Khushbu, anybody wants to join in and say something about it, we can take that on. We are still digressing from our main topic. We'll get there in a second, but I'm going to take this on right now. Dennis, look at this. Look at this. I don't think you'd relate to this. This is a very, Asian problem.
Yeah.
Yeah, because of course, I don't think you'd have a problem with being not white.
Hey, listen, I'll just come. Listen, I'm going to say underarms and stuff. It makes total sense to me. I mean, one of the big crazes in the United States, and I haven't looked this up as to whether it's going on elsewhere. I'm sure it is in European countries, but anal bleaching. So people literally go to the doctor to get that. I don't know what exactly they're trying to accomplish with that, but
what do you have against it?
I don't have anything. I don't have anything against it. People can do whatever they want. I'm just saying.
But haven't you got it done yet?
No, I don't. I can't see back there, so I don't really give a rat's ass. If that's your thing is to stare at that, then
No pun intended with the rat's ass.
Yeah. Why I was forced to hate myself, and this kind of goes to something. I don't know if I watched that yesterday. I know I watched it yesterday. I don't know if it was discussed on this show or not. But I know that at some point we talked about the all the advertisement and stuff that a lot of Asians are under with bleaching the skin and becoming lighter. I mean, really, what that just brings to mind is Michael Jackson. I mean, and there's a very famous case of that, of somebody literally changing their appearance to become lighter, looking more, I don't know, more Caucasian is what the speculation was, which could be true. I don't know.
More white ghost, man, more guilo. All right.
Yeah.
Moving on. So, dude, you suggested this topic. What's happening? What's triggering this?
Well, it's really interesting. So there's a really interesting phenomenon, and I had to deal with a situation this morning, and it's just a really interesting phenomenon that goes on here in the U.S. I'm curious as to whether it goes on anywhere else. And what I'm specifically talking about is, what parents, why do you find it appropriate to insert yourself into your child's workplace? I mean, come on. Are you really that insecure that your child doesn't love you, or did you really raise such a person that can't manage their own affairs? This situation is it's an adult. It's actually an adult ended up getting terminated, and now the parents are going nuts. The parents of this adult are going nuts and threatening legal action and everything else. And this is not, I ended up having to address some of this today. However, this is something as a business consultant, I address on a very regular basis. It's absolutely crazy to me that we're setting these kids up. We're setting these kids up to fail in life. We absolutely are. We're creating dumbasses. I don't think this is a millennial problem. This is a Gen X problem. We are the ones, my generation, we're the ones that created this. And I do not understand why, I can just tell you, so my boys, if you're watching, and I don't think they are, because they're both at work, I will not be taking and interfering with your workplace. That's your job. This is how this is how people become professionals. This is how they end up learning how to navigate the world. So parents, instead of taking and trying to fight your kids' battles and looking at your kid as being so mistreated and there's so much injustice in the workplace, teach them how to advocate for themselves. Teach them how to advocate for themselves and stay the F out of the workplace. Like, you don't want your parents coming to the workplace. It's just such a ridiculous concept to me. It makes no sense.
Okay, the two aspects to it. One aspect is that these parents are having trouble letting go because yeah, that's an interesting thing you've raised. It's not really a millennial problem, it's a Gen X problem, because the Gen X were not really major achievers. They were low achievers. As a result, their only achievement is their children, which, you know...
In many cases.
In many cases, the size of a mustache, you know, or that's what the achievement was for Gen X. So now this generation has a lot going on. So the Gen X cannot let go because that's the only achievement. So they're not really interfering. They're just trying to assert control. But on the flip side, what they're doing, is they're creating idiots, because unless you let them fend for themselves, this overprotectionism, this taking care of your children till they mature adults, is not very healthy. They never learn how to deal with the realities of life. They never really learn what the truth is. They never really learn what's going on in the world. Like you just said, they need to advocate for themselves. I would say they need to learn to fend for themselves. They don't necessarily just have to advocate. They also have to deal with whatever's coming at them. They are completely irrelevant in today's world. The competition is, we've been saying this on our show repeatedly.
Yep.
There is so much competition out there. Nobody gives a damn who you are, who you were born to, what your privileges are. Don't care, man. You deliver, you put something on the table, you have value to me. You don't, piss off. So the thing is, while parents are holding their hands, they're not doing their children a favor. They're actually destroying their lives, because today's world is ruthless, man.
Absolutely. And I'm just going to come out and say, like, truthfully, you know, as far as our kids are concerned, it is essential that we teach them how to fail. And then as parents, we support them. Failure is part of the process to being successful. This is how we take and learn. So every time we try to step in and lessen the blow for our kids, we're actually creating losers. We're creating people that cannot sustain themselves in the workplace. We're creating problems for industry. We're creating so many problems because we never take and allow our kids to fail. And it has nothing to do with the kid. Listen, I failed a bunch as a kid. There was nobody there to pick me up, and I'm better for it. So parents, if you really want to be good parents, then take and help support your kids through their failures. Failures are there to teach us lessons. Every time you step in, you are setting your child up not to just fail, but to be a failure. Period. End of story. Like, stay out of the workplace. Support the teachers. Like, listen to what the teachers are telling you about your child's behavior, instead of taking it personally as some sort of, you know, that you're being attacked on your parenting abilities. I can assure you, my children were not angels. I knew that. One of the reasons I think they're so successful is because we never treated them like they did no wrong. They absolutely did wrong. They're supposed to. They're kids. Getting terminated from a job is a life lesson. Help them learn the lesson so they can take and be successful in the future, instead of trying to, like, fight their battles. This is absolute nonsense. It has nothing. This takes it to a level beyond bulldozer parents. It takes it beyond helicopter parents, tiger parents, any of these other, you know, names that we've given to these overbearing parents. And I'm just going to come out and say it. Parents, this isn't serving your child. It's serving you. It's serving you. So for that, you're selfish. Get away from yourself and actually love your kids enough to pull yourself out of the situation and provide them guidance and support. Fighting their battles is setting them up to fail. And at some point, parent, hear me very clearly in case no one's ever told you this. At some point, parent, you will not be on this earth. There is a good chance that your child is going to live part of their life without you in it. So set them up to succeed when after you're gone.
It's also not just, you know, solving the problems. It's also when they screw up, when they commit a crime, when they make a mistake, when they make a fool of themselves. They're bullying somebody. They're just being assholes. If you're going to solve that problem for them, you are encouraging them, and you're giving them the idea that they can get away with shit. They can commit a crime and they will be sorted out. They'll be saved. You know what? Again, like Dennis said, you're not going to be alive forever. Sooner or later, you're going to have to go. And a major part of your life, just like you are living your life without your parents, they will live their life without you. And when you're not there to bail them out, when you're not there to solve their problems or cover their crimes or the mistakes, then the world's really going to screw them, because I repeat, today's world is ruthless. No one is important. More than ever in the history of mankind, today human beings are less and less important. Individuals are less and less important because we're just so many. There are just so many of us. And then because of the internet and connectivity, you know what? You can be replaced like this. We're not even counting robots yet, soon to come to a theater near you. But just now, replacing an individual with another individual, whether on premise, off premise, in city, off city, it's just so easy. None of us mean anything. We are all completely expendable. So parents, teach your children to value what they have, to behave, to understand they have zero privilege. They are nobodies. And they have to stand tall, stand equal, and they have to work hard for the shit that they want.
Absolutely. And I'm just going to even say, like here in the United States, we have one of the realities of life here in the US is we have a lot of single parent households. And like that, that's not a criticism. I understand things happen and so forth. But what I am going to say, regardless if it's a single parent household or a two parent household, our kids are not here for our emotional support. It's the other way around. And somehow these roles have ended up changing. So again, I'm going to go back and say it's selfish. It's absolutely selfish because you're not doing your job as a parent. What you're doing is you're placating your own emotion because it's too unbearable for you to see your child go through any kind of discomfort. So like instead of looking at it from your own perspective and wanting to protect your child, why don't you look at it from a perspective of setting them up for success? Every time you interfere, and school is one thing, and I don't agree with that either, but I as a business consultant, as an HR professional, I'm going to tell you, like, you are setting your kid up to have a horrible professional life. Because once you think that the word doesn't get out, because nobody is going to want to hire your kid if they know that you're the baggage. And I mean, seriously, it's the same thing that when I work with new couples. If you don't like their parents now, you're not going to find an affinity for your spouse's parents ever. Like, at some point, it's saying, like, this isn't about me. And I'm just going to come out and say this while I'm kind of, on a little bit of a rant here. When my children, when they started becoming of age, 19, 18, 17 to 20 years old, I mean, the biggest lesson as a parent that I had to learn for myself was two things. One, it's not my life. Two, it's not about me. It's not about me. When my kids have had trouble at their employment, and they have, it's not all been rosy for them. When they've had trouble with their employment, dude, take that off. When they've had trouble with their employment, what we're talking about is now it is to take and support them. Those are lessons that they had to take and learn. My oldest son, he got a demotion at his work about 6 months ago. Because you know what? Sometimes the world has to teach our kids lessons that we as parents can't teach them. We're just not capable because we're always the parent. So what I'm getting at is my son, he ended up getting demoted because the lesson I couldn't teach him is that you actually have to show up to work on time. I know, earth-shattering news, right? So kids, anybody watching, you got to show up to work on time. My son, he needed to learn that from his employer. And guess what? His ass is out of the bed and at work on time now. So and the important thing is he can only learn this from the employer. He will not learn this anywhere else, because anybody else who tells him to wake up on time, he's going to say, yeah, whatever, man. Yeah, I'm still doing okay at work. Your mom can tell you, your friend, it doesn't matter. It's only when you lose what's important to you that you will learn your lesson. Yeah? So Dennis, earlier you said, that
the reason why people do it. I want you to NLP this for a second.
Yeah.
And ask this question. Parents need to ask themselves this question, why they're actually doing it. Because if they think they're protecting their children, they're not. They're screwing them up, man. If they think they're giving them a better life, they're not. They're destroying their future. So if they're not helping the kid, if they're not benefiting the kid's future, then why are they doing it? This question needs to be asked.
Yeah.
Parents need to ask themselves this question.
Absolutely, and you're absolutely correct. And truly, that it's not just simply about, it's asking the right question. And I think the right question is for a parent to sit there and say, how is this behavior serving me? That's the first question. How is this behavior serving me, the parent? Because it is not serving the child. Taking care of the kid. I mean, that's basically a symptom of the parent's own insecurity. That's it. I mean, it does not go deeper than that. And it's really interesting, because now I mean, I've been pretty critical of other generations. Let me take a couple pot shots at mine. First of all, my generation, Gen X, we're the ones that created this situation with millennials and Gen Zs. Period. End of story. The other thing is, like, when I talk to several of my friends, let me rephrase that, because we all know I don't have a lot of friends, right? So.
And for good reason, man. For good reason. Good for you. Good reason.
I'm a little too abrasive for many. So,
yeah.
But what I'm going to say is, when I talk to them, I'm like, hey, what do you have going on this weekend? Oh, I'm doing this with my kid. I'm doing this with my kid. I'm doing this with my kid. Oh, cool. Hey, what do you think about this topic? Oh, I don't have much opinion, but my kid. So it's simply that it's always going back to what their child does. Like, do you have no identity? Do you have no identity outside of that at all? Like, let's talk about that. Let's just say, God forbid, that the child ends up passing or moving away. Are you nobody now? Do you have no identity? Yes, you do. Come on, think higher of yourself.
See, that's what I was saying. The Gen X did not have high achievers. So the major achievement, that's the reason we had an explosion, because when they had nothing else to show for them, they were not philosophers and artists and whatever. So when they had nothing else to show for themselves, they basically had children to prove that they're successful. And yes,
right.
Once the children are gone, whether, God forbid, they've passed away or they moved on, yes, these people get completely lost and devastated. Of course, I'm not talking about their personal loss. If somebody loses a child, that is devastating.
Totally different.
But otherwise, yeah, totally different situation. But they have nothing else to show for themselves. They have nothing else to do with their own lives, and they're lost because of that. You're right on that. And but the thing is, now I'm going to start addressing the millennials. They need to now realize where the parents are coming from. If they're being overprotective, you need to, without being disrespectful, because I'm talking to multiple cultures here, without being disrespectful, without breaking your families, you need to stand on your own in your life and deal with your own problems, deal with your own mistakes. Like Dennis said, advocate for yourself, fend for yourself. That is the only way you will succeed, because when when you're young, there is still an opportunity to make mistakes. Don't make them when you're old. When you're young, when you're in 20s and when you're just starting, it's okay to go bankrupt. It's okay to lose money. It's okay to lose a job when you don't have responsibilities. Try losing a job when you have a wife and children to feed. It's not funny then. So make your mistakes early, learn from them. Own up to your shit early. Don't wait for later in life when you can't take the damage. So you have to do it young, and that is unfortunately exactly when the Gen X just don't let their children go. They just keep holding on to them, solving their problems, fixing the fights and bailing them out. That's where the problem is. So millennials, people who are still young, they need to understand this is their one and last opportunity to take control of their lives. If they think, oh, we have time, we'll do it later. No, the later in your life, the bigger the disaster. The repercussions are too deep, because then it's just not you. Every little disaster affects so many other things. You will not be able to rebound from that, God forbid.
Yeah, I completely agree. And I'm just going to say, as far as like learning lessons, I mean, I already said that, one of the greatest things about that I had to understand, and it's very, very true about being a parent, especially to adult children. Again, it's not my life. It's not about me. And sometimes, and in many cases, the world has to teach them lessons that I'm unable to teach them. And two of the greatest teachers in life, an empty wallet and hunger. I bet you you're hungry enough, you don't have enough money, guarantee you're gonna not like that long enough, and you're gonna figure a way out of it. And I'm just gonna say, as far as I know I took some pot shots at my generation, but what I'm gonna say about that is it positioned me to be super successful. It positioned me to be super successful because many people, they just wanted to kind of get a job and plod through life, and it allowed me to take and rise to the top and kick ass.
Well, adversity, like I said, the sooner you have adversity and you come out of it. Now, okay, interesting. While your children are going through adversity, don't bail them out. Don't solve the problem for them, but please stand by them. Stand behind them. Give them advice. Give them counsel. Don't let them die. Let them fall. Let them scrape their knees. Of course, don't let them get really hurt. Protect them when that happens, but at least let them try. At least let them see what worked, what didn't work, what was right, what was wrong. But of course, no parent would stand by while the child completely loses it. So be there, but don't overprotect them. Let them make the mistakes and learn. Yeah, Dennis?
Yeah, I just want to say, and this was a major success for April and I, over the past few days. One of our sons, he's dealing with some challenges at work. Listen, this is nothing we can solve. There is nothing we can solve. There's nothing we can do. And so really I'm very proud of us because we took the perspective of saying, hey, we can't solve this for you, kid. How do we let us know how we can best support you? And what we did is we guided our child who's 22. We helped guide him into being able to have a conversation with his employer. That's really, and you know what? Guess what? Our kid, he wanted to do this. He's a real go-getter. He's a total ass kicker. He just didn't know how to take and handle the situation. So parents, please help your kids. Teach them how to handle situations. Teach them, support them while they're going through adversity. When they're 2 or 3 years old, picking them up and giving them a hug after they trip and fall, I totally get it. But keep it balanced and understand. I just think, I'll tell you, one of the things I see happening in my country right now, and since COVID, since all of that started and the schools shut down, I have literally seen people, the teachers had to take and go, well, what do we do now? Because there was still requirements and everything else. I'm not saying that I'm not saying that it was the perfect solution and that they took and pivoted extremely well. Mm-hmm. I think they did the best they could with the situation we were all handed. So to sit there and take it and attack them, I've worked with I live with somebody in the educational field for years, and it. So I'm just going to come out and say I'm actually glad April. In one of the ways I'm glad that she's not working from home anymore is because I don't have to hear some of these parents call and treat my wife like absolute shit because their child's not doing well, because their child doesn't want to do the work, because the child this or the child that, and even one parent even lit her up. About stuff April had nothing. Oh, you're going to make my child wear a mask to school? You know what? Then keep your kid home. Then keep them home. It's not April didn't do this. Individual teachers didn't do this. And I'm just going to say, for anybody in the United States watching this, stop taking this out on teachers. If you don't like the decisions that were made, elect new people. Oh, they're the ones that made the decision, not the teachers in the classroom who actually come in and care for your kids on a regular basis.
Absolutely, man.
Enough's enough.
Well, you've mentioned an interesting topic, which maybe we should talk about some time. It's primary school teachers. They play such a crucial role in our lives, and they are so underrated.
Totally.
We should talk about. We talk about our university teachers, professors. We talk about high school teachers. The primary school teachers who actually deal with our poop and runny noses,
Right.
you know what? They're the ones, we completely forget about them as we go through life. Once you become somebody, you would remember your university teachers, you might even remember your high school teachers, but you don't ever remember your primary school teachers, man.
Listen, I had there's a teacher here that I'm very well associated with. We're friends, and they teach kindergarten. So very like kindergarten, the very first time they actually go to a public school. And again, you're correct. They have to finish teaching them basic stuff that should have been taught at home, like toilet training and so forth. Look, kids are kids, and they're going to have accidents, and they're still learning, and all of that. But like, listen, the primary teachers, they don't want to, men, listen to me. They don't want to date you. Stop hitting on them. Stop hitting on them. My sister-in-law is a kindergarten teacher, and on multiple occasions she's had adult men, give her lingerie for Christmas gifts. Like, what are we talking about? It's not a dating service. They're there to take and educate your children. They're not there to take and be your therapist. They're not there for anything other than to teach your children certain things. Excuse me?
Is that a little too blatant?
Dude, people are idiots, man. This is how these kids end up being this way. This is how these kids end up coming to school. One of the example I was going to give, you talk about, wiping up after them and stuff like that. A kid literally took his pants down. A little boy, he's like 5 years old. He took his pants down and he started peeing on the floor, on the carpet. The teacher reprimanded the child, said, hey, you can't do that. Long story short, the teacher ended up having to have a meeting with the principal and the parent was going on about, don't correct my child about stuff like that. You're going to give them body image issues. No, actually what we're doing is we're teaching them not to get arrested to be sex offenders because they take a piss all over the place in public and expose themselves. It has gotten to be absolutely ridiculous that we allow these parents to get away from this with this kind of behavior. Like, if it was me and I was at the school, this is why I'm not a school principal, I would go, you know what? We don't want you. Take your kid and you go educate them somewhere else and contribute to the destruction of our society. So thanks.
If I know you, mate, you would have dropped your pants and started peeing in front of them. How does that feel?
No, but I probably wouldn't have done that. I might have peed on the parent.
Well, I didn't want to say it, but basically, yes. How does that feel now?
I would never do anything like that to a child, because they're learning.
No. Not the child. No, I didn't mean the child. I meant
Parents are
around.
stupid, man.
Yeah. And hey, don't stop me. Don't give me body image issues.
Right. I'm going to have body image issues because I'm not allowed to pee in public. Like, what are we doing here? That doesn't even make any sense.
So we have two topics. We need to talk about primary school teachers, and we also need to talk about assholes beget assholes.
Yeah.
I mean, where did the child learn to do that? Obviously, at home, he gets away with that shit, right? Or he's probably seen his dad do it.
Right, and this is something else that I hear on a regular basis from primary school teachers is, well, we're not going to teach them that at home. We know this is an assignment, but we're not going to teach them that at home because we don't believe in it. This is the way we do things at our home. And now they're inserting their own values and stuff. Like, if you don't want your kids in the school system, educate them on your own. Like, you have that option, do it.
Homeschool them, man. Homeschool them. Screw you.
And that's exactly what we need, is we need more kids that are homeschooled by day drinkers. Great thought process.
Assholes beget assholes.
Exactly.
All right, let's have a look at some comments, man.
Perfect.
Omar Chathai says, need to make mistakes to learn and have decision making. Absolutely, sir. Agreed.
Yep.
Again, he goes on, parents should teach kids to make decisions. Yep. Okay, Dennis.
Yeah, Rafia, I mean,
that's not cool, man.
That's not cool at all. I want to say, I always say, what's the positive intention behind, so in this case, what's the positive intention behind your mother's actions? I'm going to say, most parents, it's not about being critical. It really is coming from a place of love. I just think that a lot of times when somebody was raised in a critical environment, that's what they know. And so I think that there's mothers, I'm not even going to try to get into a mother-daughter relationship. I was very fortunate to have two sons, and I didn't have to deal with any of that other dynamic. So mothers and daughters, that's a different dynamic and not one that I truly understand. Rafia, my friend, what I'm going to suggest to you is at some point, if you can look at it, say, hey, you know what, this is my mother's positive intention. She's saying this stuff because it's out of protection. Maybe it's out of her own fears. This still comes down to setting boundaries for that you as the adult, and it's starting to get that you make sure you have to take and insist that your parents start viewing you as an adult. And it's a process. It's not going to happen overnight.
So she continues to kind of makes people look at me differently, and I don't want preferential treatment. Okay, I'm going to say something here, Rafia. You know, you call it disability. I'm not going to call it that. Illness. May God give you health. But you know what? Everyone has something, some edge over others. And from what we know of you, of these conversations we've had, Rafia, you're a very confident person. You've got clarity of thought. You write very well. Mm-hmm. You have no language or expression issues. Regardless of your disability or illness, why don't you prove everyone wrong? I would love to see you as a blogger.
Yeah.
I mean, you write quite well. You express yourself very well. You've got some brilliant ideas, and you've got shit to share. So, babe, start writing. I mean, you know, if nothing else, it's on your Facebook wall. Start writing. You have so much to share and express and give. You've got world experience. You've traveled. You obviously come from some kind of privilege. Take advantage of that. And like Dennis said, I'm sure your mom does it just because she feels you will be shortchanged. So she's maybe overselling you or just trying to get you that marginal advantage because the world is full of assholes. And it's a brutal world. So I don't think her intent is wrong. But yes, I do agree that her methodology is not the best possible. So my advice to you, Rafia, is take it on, girl. You know what? You can write well. You can express yourself. So hey, I'd love to see you start writing. That's what my advice is. Dennis?
And I just want to say, you put this in here, Rafia. Your uncle got pissed off at things, and your father said, it's her Facebook, and she can do what she wants. There it is. There it is. So your parents do support you.
Looks like you've got very supportive and parents who,
So that's a good thing, and capitalize on that. And you know what? I had a family member recently tell me, well, they said, we don't like the content you're putting out. You need to think about like this and what you're representing. And I'm like, there's this thing that's called Unfriend. Do it. Unfollow me. Stop watching my content. I didn't ask you to watch in the first place. My family is family. They're not potential clients.
No, anybody. I mean, as long as I say some crazy, bizarre shit online, and
you do.
and very, very controversial shit. But okay, fine. I tell people that listen, you have an opinion, and I think that's a stupid opinion. I don't stop you. I have an opinion. You think I have a stupid opinion. Don't stop me. You're still my friend. I put up with your shit. If you support this and I support this, we're still friends, man. Just because I take a stand about certain things, you take a stand about certain other things, that doesn't make us enemies. We can still be friends. Fine, you'd be standing for civil rights. I'd be standing for men's rights. Fine. So that's my opinion.
Right.
That does not mean that we have to hate each other. Respect each other's challenge, respect each other's battle, respect each other's opinions, and let's fucking move on. Why argue about this shit, man?
I can't even say it better. It just seems like it doesn't make a lot of sense to sit there and argue with people over opinions. And I've said this a million times. Opinions are nothing more than a belief system that we've attached an emotion to, and opinions change. They change. If you're paying attention and you're not just walking around with your head in your ass, then your opinions will naturally change over time.
I wouldn't even say change, they evolve.
Sure they do.
As you grow, your opinions evolve. And let me tell you, Dennis and I both are not emotionally attached to anything except money. That's the only emotion we attach to, The ching sound, that's all we care about. So whatever, and we're willing to say anything as long as the money's right.
Yes, you bet.
On a serious note, Well, that was serious actually, but still on a more serious note. Even a client, if they don't agree with my shit, I say, listen, you are buying service A from me. If I'm delivering you a good job on that service, keep buying my service. What I do in my bedroom, what I do on my Facebook, what are my political opinions, what are my social opinions, that has nothing to do with you. We're not married to each other. You're not married to my daughter, and I'm not married to your mother. It doesn't matter, man. You have some crazy shit going on in your life. I've got some crazy shit in my life. That's our lives. You want a service from me or a product from me, and I do a good job at it. Just pay me my dollars and cents and take a product, and that's it. That is the only thing we come together for. We're not sleeping together. So my opinions, my private life, my challenges, my battles, my protest is my business, and yours are yours.
Absolutely.
So
I just want to, you're totally,
mate.
You're totally correct. And I'll tell you, and one of the things that's just really, really true. And I think, especially as business owners, we have to remind ourselves that, and especially like being in a public position or, putting ourselves out there. It's simply that, there will be people that are like, hey, I don't agree with your opinion and I'm not going to watch your broadcast and I don't want to buy your services. But it's also, there's other people that will be attracted to it. So I think that we end up kind of viewing the world from our own perspective. And what this does is when people don't like us, it actually opens our world up to other perspectives. So dissension is good. I like dissension. It absolutely. Hey, I just wanted to show this, Maureen. Thank you so much, Maureen. At some point, like we have to take and set the world up for success. Because again, and I've said this before. At a certain point, why do I want the millennials? And why do I want these Gen Zs to be so smart, so technologically sound and savvy? Why do I want them to have a good economy? One, I care about what comes after me, but at the end of the day, it still comes down to being selfish, and I want smart, educated people that are able to take care of me and wipe my ass when I can't do it for myself anymore. Why do we not want to set them up where they're going to care for me at some time? Why would I sit around and bash them and then go, oh, take care of me now? They should do that. They should do that.
For years, when I go to schools and colleges and to speak to students, I always said that I'm not here to do you a favor. It's completely selfish. Sooner or later, I'm going to be incapacitated, and one of you assholes is going to be the prime minister and the president, and some of you are going to go into the army. Some of you will be judges. I don't want you to fuck my life up when I'm not in position and control. So while I'm in position and control, I want to sow better seeds. So when you guys become judges and engineers and doctors and pilots, for God's sake, do a better job, man.
Yeah, and it comes down to, three basic tenets. I mean, and these are very simple rules for me. Three basic tenets that I truly live my life by, which is to take care of those that came before me, take care of those that are here now, and take care of those that are going to come after me by setting them up for success. Like, it just doesn't make sense that we keep shitting on certain generations. It makes no sense. But you will have to tune in. You will have to tune in a little bit, to one of the Back to the Basics broadcast, because I will be talking about boomers and being the worst generation. So stay tuned.
Okay, I want to take some comments before it gets too late. This is a very good comment. I think my mom's parents were tough on her as a child, so she coddles me. She doesn't coddle my sister. Okay, you know what, Raphael? I'm going to repeat. You've got your thought process right. Stop being attached. Stop being emotional. Stop taking shit. You know exactly what's going on. I really want to see you right and turn this around, man. I want to see you right. This I want to take, man. Say the Aram Abid says, true children learn from their own experiences. Agree with Dennis. Thank you very much. Aram's made a couple of comments. He said, this is not fun, man. You guys stop taking it. No, Aram, we haven't stopped taking your questions. We even welcome you to come in video, but we don't take your comments during the course of the thing. And then she says, there are a few who watched live saying, thank you very much. Really appreciate this. We try to take as many comments and questions as possible. What a decent selection of the words for the topic being discussed. Nice selection, Phil. So I think that was sarcasm. Yeah, whatever. Don't watch it, man.
I don't even understand that.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Okay, agree with FB? You mean FQ. Don't solve the problem for them, but support them. Golden words. Thank you very much, sir. You're very kind.
Yeah, agreed, Umar. Thank you.
Okay, Umar says, my 3-year-old daughter chooses her own dress and knows what to wear from the wardrobe. Well done, sir.
Yeah,
well done.
absolutely. Let them be individuals. Let them be individuals. Let them go out of the house dressed, in crazy stuff. I have a really cool story about that. And, we let our youngest, our first one, we tried to oh no, you need to be like this little gentleman. And, he's all dressed in little business clothes and it was cute and everything else. But our youngest, you know what? By the time the youngest was a little bit older, we were like, okay, yeah, we're over that. And it's fun when the kids will go out and they're dressed in cowboy boots and like their underwear and in a Superman cape and a ridiculous shirt and a crazy hat. So let them be individuals, absolutely, and just support them. That's a really good opportunity to learn how to support your child before you feel the need to go in and kick some teacher's ass because you don't like it that your kid got an A instead of an A+. Remember, folks, the teachers, that it's your responsibility. It is not the teachers to help your kid win the race to nowhere.
Okay, Dennis, here's a comment. You were talking about Balochistan. Dennis did not know about Balochistan. He found out just the other day.
Yeah.
It's a very good comment, man. I always say if you're born dumb, it's not your fault. If you die dumb, it's your fault.
Correct, yeah.
Yeah.
My children
And this is the part I want. I was born in a mud house and was just a driver till 2006. And then I decided to change my life by jumping into IT. Well, it took me 10 years to teach myself. Woo, that was a hell of a journey. Now I'm the only cybersecurity guy in Balochistan.
Interesting. Good for you. Like that's super amazing, and that's really really great. I think his name is Bashir. So outstanding. I love that. I love that you took and you created an opportunity within with where you live, and that's amazing. And I'm not going to say that everybody has the same opportunities afforded to them, but you did something. You took advantage of an opportunity that you created the life that you wanted to live.
Yeah.
And I think that's absolutely amazing. We are all born dumb. However, you're correct. I think a true sin is to die dumb. And especially if we've been blessed with a long life and so forth. Absolutely.
But just what Dennis is saying, I'm going to link that to this. Sorry. Here. Yeah. I'm not saying crazy shit. What Dennis is saying, you got to take your own life and you got to fix it. Look at the guy from Balochistan, girl. Whatever adversities you have, you know what? You still have some opportunities and skill. You can do it and turn everything around, girl. I would love to see that happen.
Absolutely.
Aram says, if we have different opinions, we can still be friends. Thank you. Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely.
Anya, hey. Anya, how you doing?
Yeah, Anya, my friend, I think we've talked about this. I hate that term soft skills. I know exactly what you're talking about. But yes, strengthen their emotional intelligence. That is absolutely it. And not just their emotional intelligence, but also their cognitive abilities. We're giving them situational examples. And what we're doing is we're also teaching them failure is a part of the process. That's okay. And to support them as they fail and go, well, hey, I don't know if you thought about this, but have you ever seen it from this perspective or that perspective? Our job is to then really become more of a mentor as opposed to a parent. And I'll just tell you, I'm just going to come out and say this to my friends that say, oh, my child is my best friend. That's dead ass wrong. It depends on the age. Once they get past a certain age and they're on their own, develop a friendship. But if you're best friends with the 6-year-old, I'm just going to say that doesn't say a lot about you. Anya, thank you so much. I appreciate that comment. And emotional intelligence is extremely important. Thank you, Anya.
I have no idea what you're talking about, man. You question about all the messages you spread. Get out of here, man. No one's forcing you to watch it.
I know, that's probably somebody whose parents probably still walks around wiping his ass.
Should we instill faith in a child from a young age, or does he have the freedom to choose? Please answer from both. You know what? It's a trick question. I'm not going to go there, man. Your faith is your problem. Do whatever you want to do with your children. I used to be emotional and sentimental and all excited about shit like this. I don't give a damn. It's your life. Do what you want to do with the kids.
There you go.
Then
And I mean, we've been taught. We
don't
even
drag
brought that
me
up
to your
yesterday. Is live and let live. Like at a certain point, my children are responsible. Once they leave my house, they're responsible for their own actions. Meaning that their choices, that's between them and God. And it really has nothing to do with me at that point.
Well, that was a trick question because you know what? If the faith business, he would take whatever I would say to twist it and use it against me at some point. Get out of here, man. Well, thank you very much, everyone.
Yeah,
Dennis,
thank
you. Just stay safe, man. You've got a weekend ahead of you. The world's really looks like it's falling apart.
Yeah,
so everybody stay safe.
It's going to be an interesting weekend. It just got a news conference this morning here in my home state. Is this big push to open up from our governor, and now we're saying, oh wow, it's really strange, FQ. We're actually having a spike in cases, and it's so funny to me because
I wonder why that happened.
I know. You know what? And you know how they're justifying it by saying, well, it's not that there's more cases. We just know that there's more because of more testing. You're getting more positive results because more people are positive, regardless of the testing. We're spreading this. Like, it's absolute nonsense. So keep protesting. Herd immunity.
Yeah. Just stay out of my life, man. Just stay out of my life. I had a very dangerous near miss this afternoon, actually. I got lucky. There was a positive guy, and he almost came into my space, and I had to really have this whole place washed. It was very scary. Salman saying, any live session during weekend? Not these. I do a few interviews for other people, but no.
And I am taking a break this weekend, so.
Yeah, frankly, 5. I'm doing 5. Dennis is doing 10. So you know what? Well done, Dennis. And
Thanks,
I do a lot of other interviews on other people's shows.
Yeah.
So yeah, we need the weekend off.
Yeah.
Bongo. Yeah. Sarmat Khan sir, thank you. It was a legitimate question. Let the audience be there. No, sir. I will not fall into that trap. I love you too. Thank you very much. You have a good one.
Thank you.
Enjoy
so
your
much,
weekends.
everybody.
We'll see you Monday.
Stay blessed.